Okay, so I'm curious, which one of you began this journey in business and how did it evolve over time? And why did you decide to work the business together? So that was a question from one of our clients, and we actually want to answer it here today.
So I think the reason why a lot of people ask us this is they have a significant other and they want to see if it would be a good fit to actually work with them. How does that actually work? Does it actually benefit you, or is it going to separate you and pull you apart? And the answer is yes. It could be all of those different things. And we want to kind of share our 12-year journey into how we were able to actually work together to build the business faster, but also create better connections with each other when we actually did the 3 things that we're going to talk about here today. So just a little bit of a backstory. So we did start a business 12 years ago. It actually really started with me getting connected in a network marketing company. You see, I'd lost 100 pounds, got into incredible shape, and I wanted to be able to help out other people. It started off with me just sharing some things that were really working for me. And so basically it was me sharing affiliate links and then helping coach people, get them to show up, get them to take action, and get results as well. And that's when Teresa jumped in. Now, she didn't really jump in 100% like how I do. It's kind of a weird thing. I go all or nothing. It's just something that's my personality trait. But it was over time that I saw that she started to get interested, not only in the health and fitness weight loss journey, because she was actually going through it with me too, but also the business aspect. So I'm curious, like, what is it that got you a little interested, and how did you start to transition into work in the business?
The way that I saw it was that you were doing something that you were really passionate about. And I knew because I was behind the scenes, so I kind of knew what was going on. So I started to jump in because other people were asking me what I did, how I was able to really just kind of dive into health and fitness and really improve my health quite a bit. So because they were asking and because I saw that you were already doing it, I thought, well, why not do it myself? So part of the question was, why did we decide to do this together? And I think what ended up happening was because we were focusing on our health together, we started to create more of a bond. And because that bond started to get stronger, we wanted to do more things together. So the business was kind of like that next step.
Yeah, I also think that at the time we were working full-time, right? And we didn't really have the idea of we're going to be able to leave our full-time jobs, which we were able to do, right? It was more of like, hey, let's help some people. Let's make some extra money, get some different income. And then from there, I think like by dipping our toes in and seeing what was possible, because we were making like $40,000 from the MLM, we started to think about like, what happens if we like actually went all in, right? And then we had that conversation about what would that look like? What would that look like for Teresa? What would that look like for me? And what could like the potential end results be? And that was a really invigorating conversation, because it was like taking this transition from me thinking I'm gonna have to work LAPD for 33 years. I don't know how long you thought you were gonna have to work in corporate, but in reality, it was like, we didn't want to have to do that. We want to be able to spend more time with our family. We want to be able to spend more time together. We wanted to like reduce the stress in our life, not just keep adding to it, right? And so through those conversations, and this was not a one-time conversation. I think a lot of people think that. They're like, hey, we're just going to sit down and decide to do this. And it was more of a gradual thing where we saw each other doing this. Maybe you saw me doing some things. I saw you doing some things. And then we started to think, what if we teamed up, right? And, obviously right now we have modern leadership where it's both me and you, right? And that was like an evolution, but it was more of us just having conversations and seeing what's working. It really was seeing what the audience liked, right? And responding to that, and then just doing more of what people did want from us. Now, I did say this earlier, but there's really 3 things that helped us to be able to bridge the gap to make sure that we actually use this for us and not against us. Because I've seen a lot of people who try to become an entrepreneur couple, actually the business separates them rather than brings them together. So I wanted to share 3 different quick things that I want you to think about if you do truly want to actually work this business with your significant other and have it help make your relationship even stronger. Now, the first piece has to do with mindset. And basically, I described it already. And that is like approaching this with a story that you can tell yourself of, you know what, this can actually help me not only grow a business faster, but create a deeper connection with my spouse if I'm willing to find all the ways to make that happen. So what this kind of does is it prevents you from using business against your spouse, or prevents you from using your spouse against your business. Because in reality, we're on the same team, right? I like to think about this a lot, especially when I'm coaching my one-on-one clients. I'm like, you and your significant other are on the same team. That means communicating. Who's going to be doing what? What is your strengths? What is your partner's strengths? And really utilizing this as a team, not only can it exponentially grow your business, but it can actually help you reach any goals, right? It's the difference between doing it singular versus a team, right? So really thinking about this beforehand of I'm going to make sure that if we do this, it's actually going to bring us closer together and not further apart, is a mindset that will help you tap into the activities, which we'll talk about next, to make that happen. So that first piece is the mindset shift.
So the next thing is tactics. So this is the stuff that you actually do. It's the strategies, it's the actions, the activities that you do. And really what I think this is all about is when you're working with your spouse, your significant other, it's about communication. Mm-hmm. It's really about sharing that vision with each other. So, depending on who's kind of leading the way, sharing that vision and really communicating how this is going to benefit everyone. So knowing what your roles are, I think for us, the key thing was really focusing on our strengths. So we would identify each other's strengths and really work towards that instead of trying to just do everything. And even if it was our weakness, because that just got us into trouble. So, I have my strengths, Mark has his strengths, and really just diving into that truly helped us grow exponentially.
Yeah, I mean, the communication piece with all relationships is important, right? So that is one way of having deeper conversations, finding out what the other person wants, sharing what you want, and figuring out like, how can we get this, knowing that it's not going to be rigid, but you have to make it a science experiment, will actually help you not just in business. Like we said, it'll help you communicate outside of business. It's one of those things where it's like the universal principle, right? And when you tap into being able to communicate, have conversations, be okay with that person wanting or not wanting to go a different direction, and also be okay for the times when it's not time to talk business. Hey, it's business time, or hey, it's husband and wife time. And making sure that, I know for me, I've got the entrepreneur blood, so I kind of want to talk about it a lot. And sometimes Teresa's like, I think we are done talking business. And it's kind of important to actually recognize that and be, okay, time to move on, and we'll bring this conversation back, right? But not using it as a way to actually disconnect you, but instead using it as an opportunity to connect even more. Now, the third piece is the accountability piece. Now, here's the thing. When we first started our business, like I said, we were both working full-time. We had 2 small kids. We were trying to get and stay in the best shape of our life, and we were trying to grow a business. And what I realized is I was hanging out with a lot of people who didn't have not only that level of stress, that level of focus on business, but I was hanging out with other people who also didn't value the relationship they had with their significant other. And so it was actually much harder for me to stay consistent, to find new ways on how to actually bridge that gap between how do I do this in a way that actually increases our business, makes a bigger impact, and also I connect more with Teresa. And so what I did is I purposefully went out and I found a team to surround myself with, because I know that when I surround myself with the right people, those activities, those actions, those things they're thinking about, and also the skills they're learning are contagious. Now, for me personally, that was working with the Dad Edge, something I still actually do till today, where I actually teach inside of the program. But what it is it's a group of men who want to become better fathers and husbands, but also who own businesses and then want to exponentially grow their business, but without having to constantly do more. And when you actually surround yourself with those kind of people, it's crazy the ideas that they have that you would have never thought of on your own. That's why this third piece, which is accountability, finding a group, finding a team, finding somebody you can lean into, somebody who's been down that path before, who can help you along the way, is such a critical component. So that's the mindset, realizing that you can actually help build a business that you love and connect deeper with your family at the same time. Number 2 is find the tactics that it takes, and a lot of that has to do with communication, to make sure that the business isn't a separator, but it's a connector. And the third piece is make sure that you hang out with other people who share the same values and goals as you, because that stuff will be contagious and it will get you to show up and do the things that you need to do. Now, if you don't know it, that's why we have our YouTube channel. But that's also why we have our Inner Circle program. It's where we take a deeper dive into content that helps not only build a business you love, connect deeper with your family, but also without having to sacrifice your physical or mental health to do it. Because it's all about working on your business, not in your business. If that's something you're interested in, click the join button below and we'll share all the details. But regardless, if you enjoy this content, definitely subscribe and continue watching, because we want you to see your business as your superpower that can actually help you make a deeper connection with your family without having to burn yourself out. Because we believe the world needs to hear your message now more than ever. Thank you for being willing to lean in and share that message. And above all, keep leading from the front, leader.